Shalom, shalom, Israel. Give honor to the Most High and the Senior Hawashai, Captain Yara. The Battle Axes of the Most High coming at you with another Tuesday night class. Too legit to quit Tuesdays. Because we indeed are too legit to quit this thing, man, right? All praises to the Most High God for this grace that He's given us, this allowance of life that we definitely don't want to take for granted. With this grace and mercy that the Lord has given us, we pray that we're able to get some understanding and wisdom and knowledge. Shalom, Brother Jose. How you doing now? Hope everything is well out there with you, bro. I said, we'll wait a little bit for the brothers and sisters to chime in, get in. But happy to see a couple of you bros already chiming in. Brother Ray from Minnesota, how you doing? Shalom. I hope all is well with brothers and sisters within this week. I pray for brothers and sisters' endurance. Shalom, Sister Benaniyah. I pray for brothers and sisters' endurance, man, to endure this wicked enslavement and captivity that we're in, these wicked heathens. Like I always say, man, we pray that every brother and sister that are represented here are praying for one another, man. That we pray for your family, man. Pray for your nation, man. Shalom, Princess Coco. How you doing? How y'all doing? Today's class we'll be going into the 7th-day Sabbath. The name of the class is the 7th-day Sabbath. We always like to reiterate, go over precepts, go over scriptures, go over topics that haven't been touched in a while. And always when we go over classes, a lot of things that we want to pull out and address at the same time. Shalom, Brother Jonathan, how you doing out? So, it's a few doctrines out right now as far as, it's always the same thing. Christians doing the Sabbath on a Sunday. Some people saying, well, the Sabbath is not Saturday. Some people saying or believing in the lunar Sabbath, so here at Battle Axe, we believe in a 7th-day Sabbath, which is Friday night sundown to Sabbath night, Saturday night sundown. And that's going to be our position within the class tonight. So, we just want to make sure that brothers and sisters have a true understanding of what we are teaching and what we are reading, what we are trying to navigate between the nation, but with the nation, to uplift brothers and sisters to have more understanding of this thing. The Bible says, get a good understanding, man. With all thy getting, man, get a good understanding. So we want to try to get as good understanding as we possibly can. We know that we won't have the fullness of understanding until the Most High sends back our King, Hawashai, to give us all understanding. But it's still up to us to try to unlock mysteries and parables and some of the deeper, darker things of the scriptures. The 7th-day Sabbath is not one of those deep, dark parables that we have came across. We see it to be fairly easy or fairly verbatim, as you might say. So, we just want to go over these things and make sure, brothers and sisters are grounded on one accord, right? Trying to get stay within the doctrine that they receive. A couple precepts just jumped in my mind while we starting out before we get this thing. So we will go on to jump into a few precepts though. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 4. We'll start at verse 1. Let's read that. The book of Proverbs, chapter 4, verse 1. Hear ye, children, the instruction of a father, and attend to no understanding. So, one might say, as long as somebody's keeping the Sabbath, why are we so harping on this so much? The Bible tells us to he take heed to instruction of our Father and attend to understanding. So we always want to get the most understanding as we possibly can out of these scriptures. Right? So again, hear ye children the instruction of a father and attend to no understanding. So we want to always be attentive to understanding. We want to always hear and understand, right? We don't want to just listen to the words of the Most High God. You see a teacher teaching, you see somebody bringing it out, and you're just listening. You're not hearing to understand. It's a difference from just listening and also hearing to understand. You want to be able to hear these words and be able to understand what you're hearing and what you're reading, right? Let's read that one more time. Hear ye, children, the instruction of a father. So the Most High God gave us instructions what we should follow, right? And we want to try to follow those earnestly and as most possible as we can. We know by us not following the instructions of our Father, it got us in the captivity that we're in right now. So we don't want to try to let things pass by if we see that we have the understanding of it. We want to try to give all understanding, right? Let's read verse 2. For I give you good doctrine, forsake ye not my law. So we know good doctrine is going to what? Romans 7 and 12. What is good? The law. And he tells us, don't forsake the laws that the Most High God gives us, right? That's the good doctrine that we got to stay grounded in, right? Let's get a precept. Let's go to Sirach chapter 24. So we want to hear instruction of the Father. This is the first thing that we want to do. We want to hear the instructions, man, and we want to be able to understand the instructions. Sirach 24 and 27. He maketh the doctrine of knowledge appear as the light, and as Gion is in the time of vintage. So the doctrine of knowledge is what we're trying to obtain in Israel. We don't want to just let some things go by and, we'll know until we'll know better when Christ comes. Yeah, some things, the deeper, darker parables or whatnot, yeah, we might want to let those, we want to back off on those until we get full understanding. But some of the things that the Most High God gives us, like we're about to go into tonight, the 7-day Sabbath, like we say, it's pretty clear cut to the children of Israel, to the Battle Axe family, and we'll push our points. The Bible tells us to prove all things, and that's what we'll try to do tonight. Prove all things that the 7-day Sabbath is Friday night sundown to Saturday night sundown. So back to Proverbs 4, he tells us to what? Hear the instructions of a father, attend to understanding. He gave us good doctrine. He says, forsake ye not my law. So we don't want to forsake these things. We have the opportunity to get understanding. We want to make sure that we get it. Drop down to verse 4 to go to Proverbs 4 and 4. He taught me also and said unto me, let thine heart retain my words, keep my commandments, and live. So this is what living is. So we want to make sure that we try to get this right, because the 7-day Sabbath is what? A commandment, right? The 7-day Sabbath is in fact indeed a commandment, and we want to make sure that we're keeping these commandments, because we've seen us not keeping the commandments where it has gotten us. And it has gotten us into what? Captivity after captivity. So we want to make sure that we understand the instructions of our Father so we get it right, man. Right? So we don't continue in this wicked kingdom, that the Lord can come use these vessels and get us ready for the kingdom to come, man. Verse 5, get wisdom, get understanding, forget it not, neither decline from the words of my mouth. Forsake her not, and she shall preserve thee. Love her, and she shall keep thee. Wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom. And with all thy getting, get understanding. So this is what this class is for today, to get wisdom and understanding on the 7-day Sabbath, right? We said, we see some brothers that push the lunar Sabbath. We see some brothers that push or say any day is a Sabbath. It's just a lot, man. We see the Christian church pushing Sunday as a Sabbath, but we want to make our point clear and what we stand on, that we said, like, indeed, to get wisdom and understanding of the 7-day Sabbath from the Battle Axes. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 25. Let's stay in Proverbs. verse 2, 25 and 2. The book of Proverbs, chapter 25, verse 2. It is the glory of God to conceal a thing, but the honor of a king, but the honor of kings is to search out a matter. I love that precept because that lets us know that we got to continue in trying to unlock and get this thing right. Right? We want to make sure that we get these things right as much as we possibly can, that we continue in the doctrine that we receive, that we stay on the course, that we get things right. Because again, it's verse 2, it is the glory of God to conceal things. Some things are concealed from the children of Israel right now. Right? Some things have not been unlocked by the Most High God for us to receive it. Right? But it said it's the honor of kings to search out a matter. But it's our honor. It should be your honor and your duty to want to search out these matters and get Israel on one accord and get Israel on the right path of what they're doing, right? So it is our honor to search out these matters. So we want to make sure that we give a diligent search of these matters. That's why we don't just, oh, well, you keep the 7 when you keep it, I keep it when I keep it. Well, ultimately that is the case because we got a lot of brothers that keep the lunar 7, but we still love them, right? We don't go against them, but we stay on our doctrine and we push, we give our understanding, right? But we want to search out these matters. We want one day for Israel to be on one accord, but we know, again, like we said, until Christ's return, we won't be on fully one accord, but we still want to search out a matter because it said it's our honor to do that thing, man, right? Let's go to 1 John 5 and 3. The book of 1 John, chapter 5, verse 3. It reads, "For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments." So we know that the love of God indeed is what keeping his commandments. One might say that he loves God, but he's not keeping no commandments. He really doesn't love God there, right? Basically, he really doesn't love God because the Bible says that if you love God, you will keep his commandments, right? Again, 1 John 5 and 3, "For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous." That's the part we want to take out of this. We know that if we truly say that we love God, then we are definitely trying to keep his commandments. But the Lord told us that his commandments are not grievous. Going into all these different doctrines of the Sabbath, it makes his commandments a little grievous, right? And we see within secular history, through precept upon precept, that the 7-day Sabbath is indeed what it is, which is the 7th day, right? But if you're going into like a lunar Sabbath or something like that, that's a little hard, right? Because I believe they do their Sabbath on the 8th day. The Sabbath changes, right? Week to week, month to month. That's kind of hard. It's kind of grievous. Us being in captivity. I seen a post on Facebook. How would you go to your job and tell your boss, "Hey, yeah, I'm gonna need Wednesday off this week. I'm gonna need Thursday off next week. I'm gonna need Thursday off next week. And I'm gonna need Friday off next week because I'm obeying the Sabbath." Right? We see that the Most High God gave us the 7-day Sabbath, and just how powerful and omnipotent our God is. 9 times out of 10, people are off on the Sabbath. Now, we know that this wicked kingdom tries to make you go and work on some of the Sabbaths. They'll give you a job and say, "Yeah, we work straight Monday through Friday," right? Then all of a sudden, 3 months into the job, they'll be like, "Oh, well, we got a mandatory Sabbaths coming up, mandatory Saturdays coming up." After they've told you that we don't even open on Saturday. But most and majority of brothers and sisters' jobs are off on Saturday, right? Then they talk about the Roman Greco calendar. But I'm going to tell you, the Roman Greco calendar is what they got from us. They made that off what we do. Remember, We are the salt of the earth, man. Right? Let's get that right quick. They say, oh, the Roman Greco calendar, y'all going out there. Well, first of all, whatever is set in stone that this world is using, they got it from us, right? Just like first day, second day, third day, and then they want to try to put Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, right? This is what they try to do to take things into their own matters. And that's what we're going to get into that Daniel chapter 7, because a lot of times people think that they could change or do something else. No, they get everything from us, man. We are the salt of the earth, right? So the Roman Greco calendar is not that. That's what they push on you. But for them to have a calendar, they had to get it from the children of Israel. Remember, the Most High God gave Issachar the total understanding of the stars and the times, right? He gave Adam that thing, right? Moses, right? Solomon. We have all wisdom and understanding. All of our forefathers had omnipotent wisdom, right? Unlike no other. Remember, Queen Sheba came to visit Solomon the sea to get wisdom from him, right? Because she knew and understood that we were the top nation, that we were the strongest and the smartest. But let's go to Matthew, because they try to put these notions out here that, oh yeah, the Roman Greco. Now we are the salt of the earth, man. Whatever they got as a calendar, they got it from us. And what they try to do is try to tweak these things. I lost my train of thought. Salt of the earth. It's a life, family. Let's go to Matthew 5:13. I had lost what I was going into. Forgive me. But yes, they try to put these notions out here. No, this is us, man. We are the children of Israel. Like I said, it just so happens that now that we understand, we come into the fold of who we are. We come back into our nationality, to understanding who we are. And now we see that the Sabbath is indeed Friday night sundown and Saturday night sundown. Right. Just like I said, people, probably 60-70% of people don't have to work on Saturday, right, on the Sabbath. It's not a coincidence. Like I said, when I got into the truth, that's one thing, that's one word I put out. No more coincidence. That's not a word that I use anymore since I've been in the truth. There's no such thing as coincidences anymore, right? But Matthew 5:13, ye are the salt of the earth, but if the salt have lost its savor, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing but to be cast out and to be trodden under foot of men. So anything that they try to do, the Roman Greco so-called calendar, that comes from Israel, man. They tried to base their calendar off us. We were understanding of stars and times, right? We had this understanding, not anybody else, man. That was the children of Israel. You don't see the Lord dealing with any other nation like that, giving them the understanding of times, man, right? So when they go into these things, you got scriptures always to back these things up, man. They want to talk about, well, y'all following that calendar, the white man calendar. Nah, so-called white, it ain't his calendar. No, they get everything from us. The Bible said we are the salt of the earth. But our salt has lost its savor. We've been kicking it on the Sabbath. We love to go, and I'm gonna tell you how Esau try to do you. 9 times out of 10 people get paid Thursday or Friday. Right? Used to be Friday. Right? Now Esau want to give it to you like on Thursday, so you'll make sure that you have you some money. Okay, you get it Thursday, well, you can go get the check cash Friday, so you can have some money to go to the Sabbath. Knowing that we are the top consumers in this earth, in this world, right? So we see these things that we are the salt of the earth, but it said if the salt has lost its savor, then it's good for nothing. Shalom, Brother Yaakov, how you doing? So we see that the Sabbath is indeed taken, or the calendar, if they want to call it, it comes from us, because we are the salt of the earth. Shalom, Officer Barakai, how you doing? We are the salt of the earth, man. Verse 14, you are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid, right? Neither do men light a candle and put it under the bushel, but a candlestick is given light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. And verse 16 is heavy, because that's what we're doing, man, right? We're trying to let our light be seen and shine upon men, man, right? We're trying to get our brothers and sisters to stop, in fact, breaking the Sabbath and indeed come back into the Lord's will and have that day of rest, as he calls it, right? That's the same way that the truth was given to me. I used to drink, smoke, hoop every Saturday. That's what we do. We hooped in the morning. We smoked, we drank after we hoop. We barbecue. We have a lot of pork on the grill. And that was my Sabbath, right? That was my whole Saturday consisted of. But now I have understanding to know that the Sabbath indeed is the 7th day, which is Friday night, sundown, and Saturday night, sundown. And like I said, secular history and pulling up your phone and seeing Google, man, this thing don't lie, man, right? They can't lie, right? That's why I said we give Esau too much credit sometimes. Oh, his calendar. No, it's not. That's too much credit, right? He's not smarter than us. They can't be. I bring up this point all the time. The movie Django, right? The only way that whatever the so-called the name was, Candyland, whatever, the only reason he knew that Django was after that girl was because another Negro had to tell him. He didn't know. He thought that they was coming for some fighters. They had them. If it wasn't for Shalom, like if it wasn't for whatever his name was, Samuel Jackson, letting him know, he wouldn't have never knew. We give Esau too much credit. This is not their calendar or anything, man. Let's go to Daniel 7:25. So we want to get a good understanding of what we're doing, why we're doing it. We want to make sure that we're keeping the laws to the best of our ability, because the 7-day Sabbath is a law. And we want to make sure that we have true understanding on that thing, man. Daniel 7:25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High. Talking about Esau, right? The heathen. And shall wear out the saints of the Most High, which they are doing right now. Got us in captivity after captivity. Shalom, Brother Abraham. How you doing? Dexter Shalom. Who else I seen coming out? Shalom, bossing up. Yaakov, Barakai. How y'all doing, family? All praises, man. Verse 25 of Daniel 7. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, which they are doing. They wearing us out, man, right? They're speaking great words against our God, right? First of all, they tried to give us a Cesar Borgia picture who we know in hell is not our king, right? And then they wearing us out in this captivity, man. Got us working 12-hour shifts, 15-hour shifts. Man, brothers out here driving trucks back and forth daily, man, getting their logistics on, man. They wearing out the saints, man. And think to change times and laws. This is what they try to do. They think that they can change times and laws. I'm going to tell you, that Lunar Day Sabbath and that Sunday Sabbath, all that came from them, right? All that came from them, because that's what Babylon is, man. It's the land of confusion, right? That's all it is. It's confusion, right? When we see clearly the first day to the 7th day was created first, man. We're going to get into that, right? But it says, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, right? And shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, right? That's what they think. That's the key word. They think that they can change times and laws, but they can't. Everything is still ran by the Most High God. Don't forget, man, that this is the Most High God's world, man. And he's still in control, right? And they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion to consume and to destroy it to the end. So they think that they can change times and laws. It ain't no Roman Greco calendar. It's what they got from us. It ain't Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's what they got from us, the first day, the second day, the third day, right? It's not Sunday Sabbath. It's indeed the Saturday, the 7-day Sabbath, right? That's what they got from us, man. But they think that they can change times and laws. And now you see the Israelites waking back up, coming into their true nationality, coming into their laws more abundantly, getting an understanding of who they are more, right? Let's get into this thing. Let's go to Sirach chapter 33. So we want to make sure, indeed, appreciate that, Officer Barakai. I think I don't know that we got class right now. You know, that's he out there probably on the road I don't know if he got it or not, but I appreciate you hitting him up, letting him know. So Sirach 33 and 7. We'll start at verse 7, man, right? He said, I'm Jude the water. I can't. What you mean? I said, Shalom, Jude. Sirach 33 and 7. Why doth one day excel another, when there's all the lights of every day and the year is of the sun? Why does one day excel another, when all the light of every day is in the year is of the sun, right? By the knowledge of the Lord they were distinguished, and he altered seasons and feast, right? So one would look at a day and say, well, you can celebrate the Sabbath on any day, right? As long as you celebrate your Sabbath, right? And then I tell them, well, are you keeping the Sabbath? Oh, you good? Okay, I'll praise God. Make sure you don't hit nothing, man. You know, Esau was looking to fire a Negro, man. So one might say that, yeah, oh yeah, the Sabbath, this is my Sabbath, Wednesday to Wednesday. Yeah. But we'll see what the Bible says about that. By the verse 8 again, by the knowledge of the Lord they were distinguished. So days, months, seasons, years were distinguished by the knowledge of the Lord, right? Verse 9. Some of them had he made high days and hallowed them. So some days he set apart and hallowed them, meaning he separated them, right? And some of them had he made ordinary days. Some days are ordinary days. You can't put a high holy day on an ordinary day. You can't do that. That's one of the downfalls of the children of Israel, right? Well, I'm gonna keep my Sabbath when I want to keep my Sabbath. You're out of line. You're trying to put a high holy day, a high day on a regular day, man. Right? You can't do that. Let's read 9 again. Some of them had he made high days and hallowed them, and some of them had he made ordinary days. Some days are ordinary days. But if we don't have understanding of the days, the seasons, and times, then we'll be lost in the sauce, right? Some days are ordinary days, and we got to be able to understand that and see that, right? Some days are not high holy days, right? They just not. If it's not a Sabbath, if it's not a feast, if it's not a Sabbath day of rest, it's an ordinary day, man. So we can't just go out here and put hollow days, and they are ordinary days, but we got to be able to see it through the scriptures and be able to understand these days, right? Let's go to Genesis. Let's go to chapter 1. All right, so we see, in fact, that the Lord definitely gave us a lot to go by to distinguish the Sabbath day, right? And let's read it. Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and earth, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. Verse 3. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. What did the Most High God just do? What did he just do? In my book, the subtitle is the creation, and then it goes into the first day. The Lord has just distinguished a day before anything else. This is the Lord's first creation, a day. Let's read verse 3 again. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. So we see that the first day was established before anything. Now, I'm not the dumb, I'm not the smartest, but in order to get to a week, what do you have to come across? A day, and not just one, but the Lord calls it 7 days, which in a week, and we'll touch that too. And we see through the scriptures, right? The first thing that the Lord created was a day, and He's created and saw that it was good, and He said it and magnified it, right? That's the first thing He created, a day, a day, a day, right? We haven't talked about the Lord creating a moon. We haven't seen the Lord create a sun, or we haven't seen the Lord talk about a month, a year. We've seen Him create a day, the first creation, right? Let's drop down to verse 14. Now, like I said, my subtitle is going into what? The fourth day, right? And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. Now, I'm going to see if y'all catch that. What's one thing that we don't see in verse 14 that we're talking about right now? We're talking about the 7-day Sabbath, everything that has to do with the Sabbath. What word don't you see in there? If anybody can kind of see where I'm going. There's something that we don't see that's missing. Hey, all praises. You in the spirit, boy. You in the spirit, You don't see weeks in there, right? Why? Because the Lord is still continuing to make a week, man. This is heavy, man. Well, sometimes we look over things and we don't see exactly what the Lord is trying to show us. He said, the lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs, for seasons, and for days, and for years. But you don't see the Lord speak on weeks right here, right? Because the Lord is still making a week. Because a week consists of 7 days, right? So this is the fourth day. This is another reason why we don't deal with the lunar Sabbath, right? Because like Capt and I would say, we can see if the moon and the sun and the stars and the sun was created on the first day. It was created 4 days after a day was created. That's off, right? We don't see that, right? So we're still talking about days. This is the fourth day. We're not talking about Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We ain't talking about none of that. We're talking about the first day, and we're talking about the fourth day. On the fourth day, we get the making of the sun and the moon, right? And he lets us know that it's for seasons and for days and years. But we're still going through the week that the Lord is creating this world, right? We haven't got to that full week yet, right? Let's stay in Genesis. Let's just keep reading down a little bit. Let's keep reading down. Verse 15, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and it was so. So we already completed 3 days of creation from the Most High God. Now on the fourth day, he said, let the sun and the moon be for lights in the firmament, right? And God said on 15, it was so. Verse 16, and God made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. So we see the Most High God is now creating those lights in the firmament, right? Showing you that we're not talking about a week or a Sabbath yet, to show that the Lord has given us any understanding of the days and weeks dealing with a 7-day Sabbath. We know that the Lord gives us the moon for what seasons, right? Let's go to 2nd Edges. Go to 2nd Edges chapter 6. We'll start at verse 30. Well, I want 38 or 39. We'll start at 38. Let's read down a little bit. Hold your precept in Genesis. Let's go to 2nd Edges 6 and 38. 2nd Edges 6 and 38. And I said, O Lord, thou speakest from the beginning of the creation. From the beginning of the creation, right? Even the first day. because this was the beginning of the creation. The first day was the beginning of the creation, right? It said thus, let heaven and earth be made, and the word was a perfect work. So a day was made and it was a perfect work, right? The second day, you see the Lord making the firmament, it was a perfect work. The third day, you see the Lord dealing with the dry and the fruits and everything, it was a perfect work, right? So the Lord is on to making different things, but that first day was a perfect creation, right? It didn't need anything else for it to be perfect. You see that? Do you understand that? Because this is going to give you understanding on the moon not having to deal with a day. If you can understand what I'm saying. Second Edges tells you that work of a day, the first day, was perfect. The Lord didn't make the moon or the sun until the fourth day. So that perfect day didn't need the moon or the sun to be perfect in its making. It was already a perfect day, right? That means that you don't have to deal with the moon on the 7-day Sabbath, because that day is a day. That day was already created and made perfect. It didn't need any more help. Let's read this again. Verse 38. And I said, O Lord, thou speakest from the beginning of the creation, even the first day, and said it thus, let heaven and earth be made, and thy word was a perfect work. So everything was made perfect within this work in this day, right? The first day, everything was made perfect. It didn't need something else to be completed because it was already made perfect. You understand that? 39. And then was the spirit and darkness and silence were on every side. The sound of man's voice was not yet formed. Then commanded thou a fair light to come forth of thy treasures, that thy work might appear. Upon the second day thou madest the spirit of the firmament, and commandest it to part asunder, and to make a division between the waters, and one part might go up, and the others remain beneath. Upon the third day thou didst command that the waters should be gathered in the seventh part of the earth. 6 parts hast thou dried up and kept them, to the intent of these some being planted of God and tilled and tilled might serve thee. For as soon as thy word went forth, the work was made. Verse 44. For immediately there was a great and innumerable fruit, and many and diverse pleasures for the taste, and flowers of unchangeable color, and odors of wonderful smell. And this was done the third day. So we see that Edges is really going forth and backing up Genesis chapter 1 and 2 Edges chapter 6. Verse 45. Upon the fourth day thou commanded that the sun should shine, and the moon give her light, and the stars should be in order. In order. The moon was created, and the stars and the sun were created on the fourth day, and they had to be in order. Right? If the Lord created the first day and he made it perfect, and the Lord created the moon on the fourth day, he made them to be in order. They have to be in order, right? That means that you can't make the moon dictate a day or weeks when it's already been established, right? In order. And gave them to charge to do service unto man that was to be made. So just to touch on that, to show you that the days of creation were perfect. When the Lord made the first day, it didn't need help, right? In making that day a day, or making that week a week, because it was already solidified. The Lord has still not gave us a full week yet. He still haven't gave us a full week. We're on day 5 now, right? You don't see anything in 4 talking about weeks, because we're still going through that week, because a week is a 7-day period. If you look it up in the Greek, the Greek shows that week is 7-day period. It's 7 days. You know, people that keep the lunar Sabbath, they keep it every 8 days. Some of them try to keep it on the 7th day, but then it just makes everything be out of order, right? And that's another thing with the lunar Sabbath calendar. They're keeping high holy days out of order, man. Right? We have to keep these feasts in their seasons, man. And we're going to touch on that too. But let's go back to Genesis 1 and let's read verse 17. And God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day, right? So we see that the Most High God is giving you understanding and giving you the sun and the moon on the fourth day, right? Let's jump over to verse 31. And God saw everything that he made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day. So now we're getting to the sixth day. The Lord created this world in 6 days, and the 7 days say he rested. Read, let's go to verse 2, chapter 2. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day, God ended his work which he had made, and rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which God created and made. So we see that now we pull up and we get a week now, right? Because now here is the seventh day, right? And the Lord said that he rested on that seventh day, right? You don't see him going through any other days in the Bible, right? So now that means what? We have our 7 day period. Now we get into our first week. Now we go. Now it starts over. First day, 7th day. First day, 7th day. Let's prove that. Let's go to John, chapter 20. There's no other day that we can be talking about, because now it's the 7th day, and then it starts over to the first day, right? And we can prove that. Let's go to John. I want the other one. What's that? I want Mark. Or that Matthew 28. Let's see if that's in Matthew 28 what I want. That's what I want. Let's go to Matthew 28 and 1. Shalom, Sister Elaine. Shalom, shalom. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Matthew chapter 28, verse 1. In the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn toward the first day of the week. You see that? In the end of the Sabbath. Remember, we just read Genesis chapter 2, where he said the 7th day, the Sabbath, he rested and hallowed it, right? So there's no more days into a week anymore. That is done, right? Genesis chapter 2, verse 3. And God blessed the 7th day, right? And sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work, which God created and made. So the 7th day. So that means there's no other day, because the next day we go to is back to the first day. And like I said, we proved that with Matthew 28 and 1. In the end of the Sabbath, right? This is the 7th day Sabbath. As it began to dawn toward the first day of the week. So you see, you go from the 7th day to the first day. Right? I know sometimes it might seem like, man, this is repetitive. This is simple. Well, to some, it's not. Right? Because, like I said, some people keep the lunar Sabbath and they keep it 8 days, right? That the Sabbath comes in on the 8th day. But in fact, like we said, if you Google the word week in the Hebrew text, week is going into a 7-day period. You see, at the end of the Sabbath, as it begins to dawn toward the first day. So after your 7th day, you go into a day 1 again, right? You don't go into an 8th day. You don't go into nothing else. You're going back to day 1, right? This is what they want to try to give you Monday and Sunday and Wednesday and Thursday. But in fact, it is from the 7th day back to the first day. To the 7th day again, back to the first day, right? Let's go to, see, I read that. Let's go to Exodus chapter 20. Let's get Exodus chapter 20. Let's go to Exodus 20 and let's start at verse 8. This is a law to the children of Israel. Therefore, we have to keep this thing in this right form, man, right? I found that, like, I was just seeing if I wanted which one I wanted out of the if I wanted the one out of John or Matthew. I wanted that Matthew chapter 28 instead of John chapter 20. Well, we're gonna go back to that though. Exodus chapter 20, verse 8. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. The Lord said to remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy, right? 6 days shall thou labor and do all thy works, right? So he gave us a 6-day period to work, just the same as the Lord did himself, right? 6 days shall thou labor and do all thy work. But the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth. We just went through that in Genesis, that in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth and rested on the 7th day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. So we see, like we read in Sirach 33, some days he made ordinary days and some days he made Sabbath days, and he hallowed them. He hallowed the Sabbath day, right? So we want to make sure that we are keeping that day in this right day and in this right form, right? Because a Christian will say, well, we keep the Sabbath on Sunday, right? But are they truly keeping the Sabbath? Because the Bible said, remember the Sabbath day. What are some of the things that you can't do on the Sabbath? The Bible just told us, right? That we can't work. We're not supposed to cook, right? The Bible gives us a lot of things on the Sabbath that Christians still do when they say that Sunday is their Sabbath, right? They'll go to Furs and eat big pork on the Sabbath after church, right? Right, when the Lord says that we can't buy or sell on the Sabbath, man. That is a day of rest, a complete day of rest. So if they are keeping Sunday as their Sabbath, they're still not keeping the Sabbath in its true form, right? They're still not doing and regarding to the Sabbath the way that the Lord gave us to do it, right? But we see that the first day to the 7th day is a week, and that is the Sabbath, right? But the Lord gave us, and he hallowed these days. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 4. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 4, and we'll start at verse 1. Do I want 1? Yeah. Yeah, I want to read it. Hebrews chapter 4, verse 1. Let us therefore fear, lest a promise being left us of entering into his rest, any of you should seem to come short of it. So we don't want to come short of the Sabbath day. This is going into Hebrews chapter 4 is going into keeping the Sabbath, right? And it said we don't want to come short of keeping the Sabbath day, right? You can't sit up here and say you're keeping the Sabbath day, but then you're not keeping it in its true form. It's all for naught. You've been keeping your Sabbath for 25 years, and you still going out there eating and cooking on the Sabbath, on the Shabbat. You coming short of the Sabbath, right? Verse 2, for unto us was the gospel preached, as well as unto them, but the word preached did not profit them, not being mixed with faith in them that heard it. So a lot of times when we teach the prophet, when we teach the 7-day Sabbath, a lot of times it ain't heard of them, man. It don't profit brothers and sisters because they stuck in their own ways. They want to lean on their own understanding. Like we said, the 7-day Sabbath is something that we see verbatimly as being kind of easy, right? It's deep, right? We make it deep. Like I said, to me, the lunar Sabbath is a Babylonian trick because, like I said, Babylon is the author of confusion, right? Because we see that the moon was made on the 4th day, right? The day was already complete and made before a moon. So how would the moon dictate a day or a week? And now we know that the moon dictates months, right? And seasons, right? We know this. But it doesn't dictate that week or that day. But within it, it all works together. It all works together, right? Or cook hot food, yes. Or cooking hot food, like we say. They say that Sunday is their Sabbath. Well, they out here cooking hot food, they eating, they buying, they selling, whatever the case may be. And then you say you're keeping the lunar Sabbath, but your Sabbath is on a Wednesday, which is an ordinary day, right? If that Wednesday is not a new moon or that Wednesday is not a feast, that's an ordinary day. Your 7-day Sabbath is Friday night sundown to Saturday night sundown, man. Right? Hebrews chapter 4, verse 2. For unto us was the gospel preached, as well as unto them. But the word preached did not profit them, not being mixed with faith in them that heard it. For we which have believed do enter into rest, as he said. So we're going to believe and we enter into rest as the Lord said, man. Exactly. And that's another great point, Doc, man. Even the Edomites, the 7-day Adventists, they even understand that, right? Because if you like I said, through secular history and Google, damn it, it'll show you that it was only 2 days that they were arguing over the Sabbath. It was the Sabbath was always a Saturday, and then what? When you came into the Roman Greco period, they tried to switch it and make it Sunday, right? These are the only 2 days that you see. You don't ever see. You can Google right now and look up any other day that was kept on the Sabbath besides Saturday or Sunday. You won't, right? Like I said, when you look up secular history and going to Google just to show you that these heathens, they are definitely the author's confusion because that's all you see, right? It's a great point. For we which have believed do enter into rest, as he said. So we that believe on the 7-day Sabbath, we believe and we enter into that rest. Friday night sundown to Saturday night sundown is that rest, right? Friday is our preparation day, right? How hard is it for you to have to keep a Sabbath differently every month, every week? Your Sabbath changes. That means your preparation day changes. So my Sabbath is Wednesday, so now I got to make sure that I got everything taken care of by Tuesday, right? So Tuesday is now my preparation day. Oh, my Sabbath is Thursday, so now I got to make Wednesday my preparation. That's grievous. And like I said, how can somebody go to a job and be like, well, I'm gonna obey the Sabbath, but I'm taking off on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That's grievous. 1 John 5:3, the Lord said that he gave us the laws to love him, but they are not grievous, man. Right? Verse 3, for we which have believed do enter into rest, as he said, as I have sworn in my wrath, if they shall enter into my rest, although the works were finished from the foundation of the world. So this is going into Genesis as well, too. When he said the rest, everything was finished from the foundation of the world. For he spake in a certain place of the 7th day on the wise. And God did rest the 7th day from all his works. I'm gonna tell you, the lunar day Sabbath, they deal with the 8th day, man. Like I've been seeing some lunar day, they try to go to the 7th day now, but for the most part, it's 8 days for the lunar Sabbath. Where the hell is that in the scriptures, man? Where is that? We don't see that, right? And in this verse 5, and in this place again, if they shall enter into my rest, verse 6, seeing therefore it remaineth that some must enter therein, and they to whom it was first preached entered not in because of unbelief. So this thing was preached from the beginning of time, brothers and sisters. The 7-day Sabbath was here from the beginning of time, right? But it's still people didn't believe in it because of what? Their unbelief, man. The same as today. Again, verse 7, again he limited a certain day, saying in David, today, after so long a time, as it is said, today, if you will hear his voice, harden not your hearts. For if Yahushua had given them rest, then would not afterward have spoken of another day. So the Lord ain't spoke of another day of our rest. 7 day is the rest, right? There remaineth therefore a rest to the people of God. For he that is entered into his rest, he also has ceased from his own works, as God did from his, right? So now we get an understanding and a rundown of what we should be doing on our 7-day rest, which is ceasing from our works, right? Gathering, the Bible tells us to gather together. Like I said, how it's so grievous for you to have a Sabbath on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, because what does the Bible command us to do on the Sabbath? It's a holy convocation, right? It's a day of rest. It's a day that we come together and gather. How everybody go come together and gather on Wednesday when brothers and sisters out here working hard as hell, man, right? But just so happen, majority of people are off on Saturday, man. That's because the Lord ain't. We've been trying to. The world been trying to change this thing, man. And some of us, we run with that and try to let them change it, man. Right? But it's right here. Proof is right here in our face, man. Verse 11, let us labor, therefore, to enter into that rest. So we got to work hard to enter into that rest, Israel. Lest any man fall after the same example of unbelief, because a lot of people are falling and to that same example of unbelief, man. They are not believing in the 7-day Sabbath. They're getting these new, um, um, Sabbaths and these new doctrines or whatever the case they want to get, and now they want to go into these things. Let's go to Hebrews. Since we're here, let's go to James. Since we already took close. Go to James chapter 1, verse 17. James chapter 1, verse 17. Dang, I'm looking for something. What is that? Oh, that's it. That's what I want right there. Yeah, James 1 and 17. Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, and cometh down from the Father of lights, with whom is no variableness, neither shadow of turning. This is a heavy scripture right here, man. If brother and sister can understand what this is saying, let's read from again from the top. Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above. What is the class going into? We're going into the 7-day Sabbath. The 7-day Sabbath is a day of rest. What is that considered to the children of Israel? That is a gift, right? For us to rest, to come out of the ways of the world, to come around like-minded brothers and sisters, to gather around brothers and sisters that have the same agenda, the same objective, that is to come and keep the Lord's commandments in due time and in its timely season. That is a gift from the Lord. Let's go to Mark chapter 2. Mark 2 and 27. We'll go back. And he said unto them, the Sabbath was made for man, and not man for the Sabbath. Therefore the Son of Man is Lord also of the Sabbath. Verse 27 is the point, though. And he said unto them, the Sabbath was made for man. That is your gift, right? And not man for the Sabbath. So when we go back to James 1 and 17, every good gift and every perfect gift is from above and coming down from the Father of lights. That's the Sabbath that he gives us. That is a gift, right? That is a day of rest, a day to come out of the ways of the world, right? And it said, within whom is no variableness. What does that variableness mean? Do any brother and sister know what the word variableness means? Do any brother and sister know, can tell me what the word variableness means? Variableness. That's right, Moses. All praise. I ain't seen you here. Right? Shalom, brother Moses. Right. No changing. It says, with whom is no variableness, neither shadow of turning. Shaky. Shaky. You can't change the 7-day Sabbath into what you wanted. No wavering. That's right. You cannot, the 7-day Sabbath cannot be changed into what you want it to be. Right? It can't. There's no variableness in these works and these gifts that the Most High God gave us. With whom is no variableness, no changing, neither shadow of turning. You can't try to turn it or make it waver into what you want it to be, man. Right? That's why the Bible says that we have to get understanding of what we're reading, man. Right? We have to get a full, diligent search of understanding of what we're reading, man. Let's go to Exodus 12. We'll start at verse 9. Exodus 12, we'll start at verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, this month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year unto you. Right? So we see that in Exodus chapter 12, we get the first dealing with of what? Months. My bad. I can show was. I think he was the first one, wasn't he? I just didn't see you. My bad. Shalom, Mike. How you been, man? Hope all is well. So we see in Exodus 12 we get a moon. Well, now we get an understanding of a moon, right? But before we've done that, a new moon, which is going into a new month, right? But way before that, we had our what? Our first day, which was given to us, right? Our fourth day, which the moon was created and made, and now we get an understanding of a new moon in Exodus, right? It's kind of far-fetched for us to go into a lunar Sabbath, knowing that the lunar Sabbatarians, that's what they call them, deal with the moon on their Sabbath, right? But we see in Exodus 12 where we get our first understanding of actually a new moon, right? Going into a new month, right? Let's get into this last little spiel, man. Let's go into Matthew 26. Now, let's go to, which one I want to go to first? Let's go to 1 Samuel first. Let's get into the account of David, man. Real quick, man. 1 Samuel chapter 20, and we'll start at verse, I think we're going to read down. Let's start at verse 4. We'll start 1 Samuel 20, verse 4. Then said Jonathan unto David, whatsoever thy soul desireth, I will even do it for thee. And David said unto Jonathan, behold, tomorrow is the new moon, right? And I should not fail to sit with the king at meat, but let me go, and that I may hide myself in the field until the third day at even. So now we're seeing that David is on the run from Saul. You know, his son Jonathan loved David, right? So David is saying that tomorrow is the new moon or the new month, right? But he's saying that I want to hide myself in the field until the third day, right, at even. So David is saying he wants to hide himself in the field 3 days, right? This is another account of why the battle axes deal with the new moon, right, and how we deal with the new moon, hiding itself. If the new moon was the light moon, man, there's some heavy light, man. That's a lot of light out there, man, compared to the new moon being a dark moon, and he's able to hide himself from Saul, right? Just something else to think about, right? So jump over to verse 20 and 18. Then Jonathan said to David, tomorrow is the new moon, and thou shalt be missed, because thy seat will be empty. So he's saying that tomorrow is the new moon, David, but you're saying that you're gonna go hide in the field for 3 days. He's saying you're gonna be missed, man. Right? They're gonna see and understand that you're not here. Let's drop down to verse 24. So David hid himself in the field, and when the new moon was come, the king sat him down to eat meat, and the king sat upon his seat at the other time, as at the other time. So, you know, they had a celebration of the new moon, like the children of Israel would do. Every new moon, we had to have a celebration, right? Even upon a seat by the wall, and Jonathan arose, and Abner sat by Saul's side, and David's place was empty. Nevertheless, Saul spake not anything that day, for he thought something had been befallen him. He is not clean, surely he is not clean. And it came to pass on the morrow, which was the second day of the month. So now we get into the second day of the month, right? The first day of the month was the new moon. It said Saul didn't say anything about it that day. He thought something happened. Now we get into the second day after that, right? Wherefore coming the son of Jesse, not the son of Jesse, to meet, neither yesterday nor today. And Jonathan answered Saul, David earnestly asked leave of me to go to Bethlehem. So Jonathan is telling him, like, look, David said he needed to go somewhere, right? This is the second day. And he said, let me go, I pray thee, for our family has a sacrifice in the city, and my brother, he had commanded me to be there. And now, if I have found favor in thine eyes, let me get away, I pray thee, and see my brethren, therefore he cometh not unto the king's table. So we see that, in fact, David has left, went into, fled himself into the field. This is the second day, right? Let's go to verse 21. Chapter 21, Shalaki. Let's start at verse 4. Let's start at verse 3. Now, therefore, what is under thine hand, give me. Man, we got to start at verse 1. We got to start at verse 1. So, like Israel, we got to get the understanding. Then David came to Nob, to Ahimelech, the priest. And Ahimelech was afraid at the meeting of David and said unto him, why art thou alone and no man with thee? And David said unto Ahimelech, the priest, the king, had commanded me a business, and had said unto me, let no man know anything of the business whereabout I send thee, and what I have commanded thee. And I have appointed my servant to such and such a place. Now therefore, what is under thine hand? Give me 5 loaves of bread in mine hand, or what there is present. And the priest answered David and said, there is no common bread under mine hand, but there is hallowed bread, if the young men have kept themselves at least from women. So we know that the hallowed bread is going into what? The showbread, right? And we know the showbread was actually cooked on the what? On the Sabbath day. The showbread was cooked on the Sabbath day, right? Now, we just had a Sabbath, right? This is the second day. Now, he's going to go into showing you that this is the third day now, but we are still on the second day from a Sabbath, right? Let's go to 1 Chronicles 9 and 32. Hold your precept. We want to prove that the showbread is indeed cooked on the Sabbath, right? 1 Chronicles 9 and 32. And other of their brethren of the sons of the Kohathites were over the showbread to prepare it every Sabbath. So the showbread was prepared every Sabbath. I voted for Kamala Harris. We don't care what you voted for. They trash. You still stuck in that same you're going to be still stuck in the same situation you're in right now. Whoever diabolic flawless is. Nobody care about no Kamala Harris. So we see, First Chronicles 9 and 32 shows you that the showbread was cooked on the Sabbath. Every Sabbath it was cooked, right? So remember, David left and said he was going to hide in the field 3 days. Now we see, so our praise, let them know we voted for Christ. So we see that indeed this is the second day. Now we're going to get into the third day, but let's keep reading. Let's go back to 1 Samuel 21 and 4. So David asked Ahimelech for some bread, right? Ahimelech said, I don't have any common bread. All I have is showbread, which was what? Which was the showbread that the priest cooked every Sabbath, right? Verse 5, and David answered the priest and said unto him, of a truth, women have been kept from us about these 3 days. So now we're getting into the third day that David has been gone, right? From Jonathan and from Saul now, 3 days after what? After the new moon. We know the new moon is in fact what? A Sabbath, right? Now here's the part that we want to touch on and understand. If you're dealing with a lunar Sabbath, they deal with every 8 days being a Sabbath, right? They deal on the 8th day being a Sabbath. David has only been out here 3 days, right? Then I seen somebody he tried to be shaky with it, but we're going to read and show you. Verse 5, and David answered the priest and said unto him, of a truth, women have been kept from us about these 3 days, since I came out, and the vessels of the young men are holy, and the bread is common, yea, though it was sanctified this day in the vessel. So that since I came out, I seen somebody try to go into, since I came out mean that he was out 3 days and then he been out 3 more days since he been out there. No, you don't see anything within the scriptures from the second day until the third day until right now, right? When we go back, we see that the Lord, he was out there the second day when Saul got mad and Saul said that he was looking for him. He said something must befall him. That was the second day. Now when we get to chapter 21 and we get to verse 5, we're getting into the third day, right? The reason why we say that is because a week makes 7 days make a week, right? He's been out there 3 days since the new moon, right? You can't have another Sabbath 3 days later. Like you can't do that. Not in the lunar, right? They can't have a Sabbath 3 or 4 days after one Sabbath, right? We do. We know we have that. we'll have a new moon, and then we'll have a 7-day Sabbath 2 or 3 days later, right? But in the lunar calendar, the lunar Sabbath, you can't do that because they do every 7 or 8 day, every 8 days. This is the point that we're trying to show you. We want to read some more on that. Let's go to Matthew chapter 26. Man, let's go to Matthew chapter 12 first. Matthew chapter 12. Let's start at verse 1. Verse 1. This is showing you that instance where David heard from Saul was indeed talking about the Sabbath. Let's go to Matthew 12 and 1. At that time, Yahushua went on the Sabbath day through the corn, and his disciples were in hunger and began to pluck the ears of corn and to eat. But when the Pharisees saw it, they said unto him, Behold, the disciples do that which is not lawful upon the Sabbath day. Right? So we're talking about the Sabbath day. Read verse 3. But he said unto them, Have you not read what David did when he was in hunger, and they were with him? How he entered into the house of God and did eat the showbread, which was not lawful for him to eat, neither for them which were up with him, but only for the priests. So we see that this account indeed that we are talking about is the Sabbath day, right? This is what Christ is going back showing you that day in 1 Samuel chapter 20 and 21 is indeed going into the Sabbath, right? This is what he's talking about. He's giving you the account of David when he ate the shewbread from Ahimelech, right? Which was supposed to be only for the priest. That's how you know we're talking about the Sabbath day, because Christ said he did the same on the Sabbath day. Remember, the scribes and Pharisees tried to catch Christ up about the corn, right? Yeah, they'll try to switch that up, man. But indeed, we're talking about the Sabbath day. Now let's jump over to Matthew 26. Let's get this last account, man. Matthew 26 and 17. Now the first day of the feast of unleavened bread, the disciples came to Yahushua, saying unto him, What wilt thou that we prepare for thee to eat the Passover? So what day is the day of the feast of unleavened bread eating? Any brothers and sisters know? What day is now verse 17? Now the first day of the feast of unleavened bread. What day is that? What day is that? The first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 23. In the 14th day of the first month at even is the Lord's Passover. And on the 15th day of the same month is the Feast of Unleavened Bread unto the Lord. Right? 7 days must you eat unleavened bread. 7 days. So we always see a completion. Right? We always see a completion of 7. 7 days. The 15th. That's right, Moses. So that was the 15th of that month, right? Now, if you go into a lunar calendar, the 15th will be a Sabbath, because they do every 8 days. So the 15th at Eve would be a Sabbath to them, right? That would be a 7-day Sabbath, right? We don't see the more Christ talking about a 7-day Sabbath here. He is talking about what? He is talking about the Feast of Unleavened Bread, right? Because what they do is they go from the first day of every month, 8 days, and then another 8 days. So this will be a Sabbath to them of the 7th day. We don't see that though, right? Let's go to 27 and verse 1. See, I want a little bit more. What I want to go to? See, what else do I want? So that's one point I want to show about. That would have been a 7-day Sabbath for them. Verse 27, chapter 27, verse 1. When the morning was come, all the chief priests and elders of the people took counsel against Christ to put him to death. And when they had bound him, they led him away and delivered him to Pontius Pilate, the government. Right? So we see this is the next day. When the morning cometh, right? In chapter 26, we're going into what? The first day of unleavened bread, right? This is all going into that first day of unleavened bread, going into the 15th day of that month, right? 26, chapter 26. But chapter 27, we get into that next day. So this will be that 16th day, that second day. When the morning was come, right? So we see that's going into the next day, right? Let's jump over to verse 50. We'll start at 48. And straightway one of them ran and took a sponge and filled it with vinegar and put it on the reed and gave him to drink. The rest said, let be. Let us see whether Elias will come to save him. Yahushua, when he had cried again with a loud voice, yielded up the ghost. And behold, the veil of the temple was rent in twain from the top of the bottom, and the earth did quake, and the rocks rent. Right? So we see that the Most High God gave up the ghost on that next morning, right? On that second morning, that next morning. Let's drop down to 57. When the evening was come, so this is going into that evening now, right? So this is the next day. When the evening was come, there came a rich man of Arimathea named Joseph, who also himself was Christ's disciple. He went to Pilate and begged the body of Christ. Then Pilate commanded that the body be delivered. And when Joseph was taken to the body, he wrapped it in a clean linen cloth and laid it in his own new tomb, which he had hewn out of the rock. And he rolled a great stone to the door of the sepulchre and departed. And there was Mary Magdalene and the other Mary sitting over against the sepulchre. Verse 62. So that evening that came, right? The evening, I mean, that comes the next day, right? Now, the next day that followed the day of the preparation, the chief priests and Pharisees came together unto Pontius Pilate, saying, Sir, we remember that the deceiver said while he was yet alive, after 3 days, I will rise again, right? Command, therefore, that the sepulchre be made sure until the 3rd day, lest his disciples come by night and steal him away and say unto the people, he is risen from the dead. So the last error shall be worse than the first. Pilate said unto them, ye have a watch, go your way, make it as sure as ye can. So they went and made the sepulchre sure, setting the stone and setting a watch. Now we get into the end, now verse chapter 28. Right? In the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn toward the first day of the week. Now the Sabbath has came. Now we've seen that 3 days. So we had the first day, right? In 20 and 27. I mean in 26. And then we had the next day in 27. That's 2 days. And then he came to us at even 3 days, right? Now he said, remember after that Christ died, right? He said 3 more days that the disciples that said that, hey, we need to go watch and see. So we get into 4 days now, right? And then we get to chapter 28, and it says, in the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn toward the first day of the week, 3 plus 4 is what? 7. This is completion of the day. You see again, like we said, from the 7th day, there's no 8th day, no 9th day. You start over again to the first day, right? In the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn toward the first day of the week. You see that? The first day of the week. When the Sabbath is over, you get back to what? The first day of the week. These things don't change. People change these things, right? Malachi 3 and 6. The Lord said, I'm the Lord, I change not. We're not going to get it. Let's go to 1 Timothy 4 and 16. I know it's a lot in there, and I want to give a more in-depth breakdown on that thing to show y'all But I hope y'all can follow it and get understanding, go and look at it yourself and see that, in fact, I'm dealing with 7 days within a week. The lunar calendar Sabbath day ended with 8 days, man. 1 Timothy 4:16. You know where I'm going. I'm all the way in 1 John. The book of 1 Timothy, chapter 4, verse 16. Take heed unto thyself and unto the doctrine. Continue in them, for in doing this thou shalt both save thyself and them that hear thee. So we want to make sure we continue in our doctrine. If we're going and keeping a 7-day Sabbath this Saturday, make sure you stay grounded with your doctrine, man. Don't try to jump and flip over, because eventually what that'll do is that'll pull you out the truth, man. You'll do so much jumping and now you won't believe anything. Well, I used to keep the 7-day Sabbath this Saturday. Then I jumped into the lunar Sabbath. All of them was wrong, right? Now you won't believe me. You'll just stop. That'll give you opportunity to not keep the commandments in fullness. Titus 1:9. In the book of Titus, chapter 1, verse 9. Holding fast the faithful word as he has been taught, man, that he may be able by sound doctrine both to exhort and to convince gainsayers. 7-day Sabbath, Saturday, Friday night, sundown. This is sound doctrine, man, right? That we can exhort and convince the gainsayers. It's hard to try to convince somebody that your Sabbath is going to change every week, every month, right? We don't see that in the scripture. It's hard to try to convince somebody that, right? I don't see that. But we can easily try to convince somebody with the 7-day Sabbath being Saturday, Friday night, sundown to Saturday night, sundown, to convince the gainsayers, right? Let's go to Genesis 49. Let's get this last precept, man. Like we said, man, a lot of these classes, man, you want to give edification to the nation. But, sometimes we want to go at a few doctrines that be out there, man. Hey, that's a heavy, great precept. Damn, I wish I'd have pulled that, man, because you see that your preparation day is Friday, man. That's right, man. That's a heavy precept, man. Is it Friday sundown to Saturday or different, brother? No, it's Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. That's a great precept, though. Like, man, that's a great precept. I gotta write it down. Let's go to Genesis 49, right? And let's start at verse 8. Let's start at verse 9. Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. He stooped down and couched as a lion, and as an old lion, who shall rouse him up? The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh come, and unto him shall the gathering of the people be. So we won't fully have gathering or understanding until Christ comes back. Some of these issues and topics we should be able to get. Others, the deeper, dark sentences and parables, yes, I understand. We might not have understanding. But some of these things we got to make simple. We got to simplify, and we got to make sure that we try to exhort one another, because it's our duty to bring out the understanding of this scripture, man. That's what the Lord gave us. He gave us priests, and he gave us to be what? 2 Corinthians 5:20. Ambassadors. We are the spokesmen for him, man. Man, tell Brother McGovern to hit me up. Oh, Jose, I haven't talked to Brew. How's he doing, man? He watching with his whole family? All praises, man. All praises, man. Brother McGovern, you make sure you hit me up. I ain't talk to you in a minute, man. You supposed to be calling me back, giving me some info on what's been going on with you, bro. So until Shiloh return, we know we won't have the fullness of this thing until Christ come back and give us the fullness. But we want to try to get these things right now, Israel, right? All praise to the Most High God for this lesson. I pray brothers and sisters have a great understanding today, that they got some understanding of the scriptures. We always say keep the laws of the Most High God. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 4, man. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 2. We always say keep the laws of the Most High God. Solomon, Judah, Khan. Hope brothers were encouraged to keep the 7-day Sabbath, to keep the Sabbath from Friday night to Saturday night. If brothers and sisters have any questions, please reach out to us. Yeah, that's a great precept, Dexter, because like I said in the class, if you going into different lunar Sabbath, then your preparation days go change and everything, man. That's just crazy, man. Deuteronomy 4 and 2. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, verse 2. You shall not add unto the word which I command you. You need to study to diminish aught from it, that you may keep the commandments of the Lord your God which I command you. So we want to make sure we don't add into the word that we don't take away, man. Call you, holler, Yahweh, Bashem, Mashak, and Havashah. I pray brothers and sisters got edified tonight. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for tuning in. Thanks for the precepts, brothers and sisters, put up. If y'all have any questions or concerns, please reach out to the captains, man. And we can go into more classes or more in-depth understanding of things. You know, Sabbath will be the more in-depth classes. Make sure you tune in. Officer Berechiah tomorrow. We got Soldier Ezra and Soldier Uriah Thursday class, Thursday evening. Going into Ehud, Social Ehud Friday day, and then Soldier Donovan and Razortalk Friday evening at the start of the Sabbath. Make sure y'all tune in, man. I think Captain Jerubbaal got Sabbath this week. All praises to the Most High God. I pray for endurance for the children of Israel, that we continue to endure in captivity, man. All praises to the Most High God. Call me Israel.